Hey-ho, everyone. This is the Dueling Express, or as some of you might know me as, Ruben. You may have also known me for the voice work that I've done in several redubs and specials, most of which were done for some of my closest friends on YouTube, such as Blue Engine 6 Redubs, aka Liz Productions 5784, Taylor Z, Electro Gamer, the LMS Engines, Liam Fitzgerald, I hope I said that name correctly, and Nostalgia Dude 1998. But one thing that you might have known about me, as my friend Milan, aka the Milan Tuner, has pointed out on a few occasions, that I am one of his partners in crime when it comes to the railways of Crotoonia, mainly as a writer. One piece of written work that you might have seen in action already is the Meet the Crotoonians episode, Tilly and the Troublesome Trucks, the first Meet the Crotoonians episode that I have written so far. Another one is being written by me, but I won't say who is introduced. That you'll have to find out for yourself. But it's not just script writing I've been doing for the Crotoonia project. There is also the set building. One set you might have seen so far is the Bartlett Bay Salt Mine. I helped design that set, and the others that I've helped design you can find on my DeviantArt account. Another bit that I do for the Crotoonia project is some of the voice acting. The voices that I'm currently doing at this present time are Kelly, Ned, Nigel, Scarloey, Theodore, and Olson, the naval tug. I am planned for Chugs and Guysborough, but we'll see what happens if someone doesn't come along and does Chugs and Guysborough better than I do. But the one thing that you may know about me when it comes to the railways of Crotoonia are the cast and call videos that I've been making up for the very same project. The more recent ones are of the characters that are actually speaking, at least at the present time due to the finished scripts and the ones that have yet to be filled in. As Milan has pointed out, in a more recent livestream event, I'm currently working on a special Crotoonia project known as Crotoonian Origins. It's not exactly an official series, at least not yet. It's more of a fan fiction series that's also an audio series. At least for the moment, anyway. Now, you're all probably wondering what Crotoonian Origins is all about. I'm here to tell you exactly what it's about and what to expect for this new series of mine. Crotoonian Origins is a series about how some of the major characters of the railways of Crotoonia, like Tugs, Theodore Tugboat, Thomas and Friends, Chuggington, that sort of thing, first came to Crotoonia and what some of their adventures were in between specials. The few known reasons at this present time for the reason for some of these characters coming to Crotoonia are businesses closing down, threatening to be scrapped, and contract signing between railway boards. The others? I'm not quite sure at the moment, but they will be thought of over time. The stories of how some of the characters first came to Crotoonia are what I like to call the transfer specials. I don't know if these stories will be put into a separate Crotoonian Origins series called Crotoonian Origins transfer stories, but we'll see what happens. But I will say this. They are going to be some very interesting stories on how they came to Crotoonia. Now, currently, for Season 1 of the official stories is 9 different episodes and 1 special. The first episode of the series that I was hoping to get out by this Halloween, but due to a few minor setbacks it got postponed until further notice, is called Ghosts, to where some of the tugboats and engines have had 2 separate encounters, and thanks to an idea of Theodore's, they managed to help the ghosts pass on into the afterlife. The rest of the episodes, though they haven't been officially written yet, they will in good time, is as follows. Episode 2, Emily the Vigorous's 4th of July. Episode 3, Coast Guard Foduck. Episode 4, A Tale of Two Georges. Episode 5, A Tugboat Christmas, which will be a Part 1, Part 2 story. Episode 6, Story Time. Episode 7, Scrap Iron. Episode 8, Princess Belle's Engine Driving School. Episode 9, Good Inside. And the special that will close the first season is The Great Crotoonian Railway Show, which, this is the only spoiler that you're going to be getting, it has Tilly as one of the main characters. Now, I may or may not add a couple more episodes to Season 1, but I don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now, for some of the episodes and the special that have yet to be written, I do have a few ideas on what they could be all about. For Emily the Vigorous's 4th of July, a major 4th of July celebration takes place on Pinewood Island. One major event that takes place during this time is a Best Dressed contest, to where many railway companies and businesses compete against one another for a special prize. The dispatcher chooses Emily as one of the few tugboats to represent the Ocean Tug and Salvage Company team. But Emily lacks the confidence she needs to be able to get out there and strut her stuff. Meanwhile, Oliver the Vast looks for a way to be able to enter the contest when those representing the Z-Stacks fleet is already filled up. For Coast Guard Foduck, the Coast Guard ship from Tugs is sent to the mainland for a full overhaul when his engine blows, and Foduck is temporarily assigned as head Coast Guard. But as he tries to do what a Coast Guard should do, he ends up making a few mistakes and ends up getting into trouble. For A Tale of Two Georges, George the Valiant is stuck working alongside George the Steamroller on a major construction project. And George the Steamroller, complaining as usual, gives George the Valiant a major headache and does his best to try and shut him up, which unfortunately makes things even worse than they were before. For A Tugboat Christmas, all the tugboats on Crotoonia, including the Z-Stacks, are pitching in to help get things ready for the great big Selgra Bay Christmas party being held. But Oliver the Vast is acting like a complete and total Scrooge. So, Theodore, along with a couple other tugboats, try to help Oliver the Vast see how special and important Christmas can be. For story time, Theodore feels left out after hearing all the exciting stories told by the engines and tugboats for when they first arrived on Crotoonia. And Theodore sets out to find a Crotoonia story of his own to tell. For scrap iron, Burke and Blair are brought to Crotoonia to serve as Hipdekacheb's private tugboats when it comes to delivering scrap. And while they're supposed to be on the job, they go back to their dirty tricks into trying to buy OJ out as cheap as possible, which lands them into trouble in the end. For Princess Belle's engine driving school, Princess Belle decides to start holding classes on how to drive an engine of all sizes and scales. And during one lesson, a certain colorful Disney bird becomes careless and causes one of the engines to become a runaway. For Good Inside, Oliver the Vast is sent to Selgrave Bay to help out with the extra workload. But none of the tugboats of Selgrave Bay want anything to do with Oliver due to the fact that he is one of the nastiest tugboats on Crotoonia. But when Theodore is in danger of being swept onto the rocks, Oliver has to rise above the challenge and save Theodore from being damaged. And for the Great Crotoonian Railway Show, Tilly overhears Thomas, James, and Percy talk about their adventure to the Great Railway Show on the mainland from the island of Sodor. Tilly thinks that it would be very exciting and fun to participate in such an event. When she tells Miss C. Ella and Sir Alan Featherington about the Great Railway Show, they think that it's an exciting and fun idea to participate in one. So, they organize a Crotoonia-style Great Railway Show and invite the international engines to participate. And Tilly decides to try and find out which event she should participate in. Meanwhile, Devious Diesel looks for a way to be able to win the shunting challenge by any means necessary. I may or may not add more episodes to Season 1, but I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, some of the characters that I plan on using will most likely be a one-time deal, if not for flashbacks, and some will appear on Crotoonia as, well, let's just say, special visitors. 3 that come to mind that are going to be used as a one-time thing, if not for flashbacks as well, are Captain Star, Captain Zero, and V for the Transfer series. And some characters I do plan on using more than one time, such as Burke and Blair, Stepney, Sir Topham Hatt, Scuffy. I'm not sure who else I'll be using, but those are my top characters that I plan for the series. And if you have any ideas for characters that could be used as special visitors, feel free to contact me and I'll put them into consideration. One thing that I need a major part of for this series is the voices themselves. I have contacted many of the Railways of Crotoonia voice actors and actresses to see if they are willing to participate in Crotoonian Origins. And while I'm still waiting for some of the voice actors and actresses to reply, I have been replied back to several of them, and they are more than willing to participate. And I've even found some voice actors and actresses willing to cover for some of the roles that, for the Railways of Crotoonia, are still available to participate in Crotoonian Origins. And while this is a good piece of news, there are still several roles that have yet to be filled in. If you're interested in voice acting for the Crotoonian Origins series, feel free to try out for a couple of roles. And for this series, they don't have to sound exactly like their original voice actors and actresses, like for the Railways of Crotoonia. They just have to be loud enough, and if I'm impressed by them, before I cast them to you. Crotoonian Origins is most likely going to be a pretty big project, probably just about as big as the Railways of Crotoonia project itself, meaning there are going to be a lot of positions that have yet to be filled in if Crotoonian Origins has yet to be a huge success, such as providing voices for a lot of the characters that have yet to be filled in, music, script writing, sound effects, that sort of thing. If you're interested in helping out, feel free to contact me and tell me which position you would like to have for the project, and I'll see what I can do. Well, I've pretty much explained to you what the Crotoonian Origins series is going to be about, at least for the moment, as it is a series that's just getting started and already in the works. Feel free to contact me, again, if you're interested in helping make Crotoonian Origins the best fan fiction series that it can be. Until then, this is the Dueling Express saying, all aboard!